Thank you all and welcome everyone back to Breathing is Highly Dangerous. I'm here with a friend and acquaintance that I've met recently. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Tiona.
So we started doing this thing today. We've been having a lot of very nice conversations. Well, I've been mostly having a conversation with myself about like existential things and life and people, right? And that's something that you are interested in as well. It's like because it's just great talking to you because you have such a insight and understanding to these things that most people don't have, and it'd be like an incredible thing for people to just hear some of the things that you experience with things common day and how you just go about your interaction with people because you interact with people in such a different way. Could you describe some of those things like I don't know any way you splice that? What is the first thing that comes to mind when I say something like that?
I just think about how typically when I meet people, I don't want to just have casual conversation. I want to actually really, really get to know them. I want to know everything within them, and I'll share the same thing. I'm very open.
Fair enough. See, that's the difference that we got. Cause I don't want to share nothing about myself. Well, sort of, a little bit, sometimes. Only if it's connected. Only if it's connected.
I don't know. I've just always been open. I don't really. I mean, I have some secrets to myself, but for the most part, I don't know. I'll tell people anything. I'm not really. It's weird because I'm shy, but I don't care about telling people who I am.
That's such an amazing thing. Cause that's like a shameless, like a fearless thing. That's a personal, you know, understanding of yourself. Like you probably it probably feels a little bit different because like even though you say you're shy, like you're probably highly selective in the people that you give your energy to. Like so, the people that you wind up sharing these things with are people that you actually care some a bit about, right? To some extent.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. I feel like I would like to share more about myself, but at the same time, I don't think people care. And I don't really want to. And I don't care so much to share my stuff. It's like, because some people share certain things. I'm like, that's so cool that you're sharing that with me. Why are you sharing this with me? But I suppose that's just people. I'm not I'm interested in everyone to a degree, but like after a certain threshold of privacy that I hold for myself, I'm like, if you're sharing this with me, don't expect me to share the same sort of information with you because I'm not.
I understand. There's some situations for me where I'm not gonna be as open, but I guess for me, it's only in situations like if I'm at work. I'm obviously not gonna share my whole life with them. But I think for the most part, if it's not something like in a professional setting, I'm okay.
Fair enough, and that's something I admire you for. And I need to make myself more like that in that respect of being able to be more honestly open. You know, because when I talk to you, there's an honest openness, right? And it doesn't feel like there's anything important being held back, right? Me on the other hand, I have like this artificial openness, and it's not I don't. It's not negative per se. That I mean, it's not meant to be negative. It's just it's a weird thing. But I appreciate you for being honestly open, and that's something the world needs more of.
But I understand why a lot of people aren't that way. Like, I think it's completely reasonable not to be that way.
Right.
It's just how I am. It's kind of hard for me to control. I do wish that I would hold back some.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Do you overshare?
I will hold back some because sometimes I don't think. But like, I'm just open. So
Yeah. I mean, there's what do you call it? I don't. It's not ebbs and flows. There was something else. Constants. There's constantly shifting. It's like either too much over here, too much over here. Like it's a spectrum of things. So yeah, that's fair. Cause I suppose. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever overshared anything. I've weirded people out by the things I do share. I don't think I've overshared, but that's just I can see that, but that's why there's a middle ground, right? Isn't it? That's why there's just something called middle ground.
I don't think there's an issue with me oversharing. I think the issue is that like not a lot of people are like me,
Right?
Where they're open, so I can't be that way because a lot of people are closed-minded, and so.
See, I don't visualize that the same way. I'm understanding like the danger of oversharing with a particular person, right? But if you're always in a situation where you're around people that you trust and that have trust in you, then your oversharing is not going to be harmful to you, you know?
Yeah, because I say to myself for the most part, so I'm not talking to just like a crap ton of people.
Right. So that's why you're like oversharing in your sense wouldn't be harmful but like certain people I know in my life that just tell everyone everything. I'm like, interesting. So you told this person that. Do you know what this person says about you when you're not there? And you told them this? This is incredible.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where that sort of thing. That's what I'm thinking about. It's like, look, like I already. It's weird because sometimes, you know, some people describe me as overly optimistic, right? And then other people describe me as incredibly pessimistic, right? But that just means that I'm incredibly realistic. Like if someone gets if someone gets this and this, and I'm sharing essentially the same information, it's the content in which you're providing. It's gonna initiate my conduct in a conversation with you. If you're doing this action and you're only seeing the benefit of it, like those benefits are possible. Look at what can realistically happen as well if you're going too far down that thing, right? And then the same thing as well as like, I'm trying to do this, but I'm afraid of this, right? So thinking of the worst thing, I was like, yes, but out of that fear, you possibly missing out on this incredible opportunity that if you stay on this consistent path, you will achieve. And the only thing that will influence that is either your own will or someone else's will that is out of your control that you really shouldn't quite worry about, you know? What the heck did I have to do with any... I mean, it related. It related. What is something that... No names, but what is something someone's overshared with you? I'll give you one too. What is something someone's overshared with you that you're just like, that's wild? That they wouldn't mind you sharing with someone.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Okay. I just thought of one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a female friend, We met actually on Facebook, and she sometimes, I know she kind of has some low self-esteem, so she'll send me pictures of her and like ask me to like comment on them and stuff like that. I have no issue with that, and she does OnlyFans, so sometimes they're loose, which I don't mind, and but she'll typically warn me.
Right.
And like the most I've ever like seen, like I've seen her like nude, but it wasn't like, it was very subtle the way she kind of took the picture. But there was one time she didn't warn me, and she sent me a video of her masturbating.
Oh,
and I was not prepared for that.
What? What? Oh my gosh. Oh.
It was just kind of weird for me because like I just think of her as like a friend. And like it was just like a weird thing to send, and I know she asked for me like, is it good for content?
She's like, asking you if that's good for content.
You don't need to ask about something like that.
Right. That's only one audience. Right. If they like seeing you, they want to see you do that. That's not a question you need to ask.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She just assaulted your eyes like that and without warning? That's rude.
That's just how I felt. Like she like gave me no warning at all.
Oh my
She
god.
was like, hey, can you rate this? I'm expecting you to just get like a regular image.
Could you rate this? Oh, you're touching yourself. What else is there to rate? What? Rate the appearance? Well, I can't. I'm not the audience for this. I'm not subscribing to you. Don't tell me to rate it. Tell the people that are subscribing to you to rate it.
Yeah, I don't.
I probably can't have a conversation that I want to have about OnlyFans, because you probably got an incredible different opinion about it.
Most likely.
Yeah. Because I don't, I won't have it. I won't say it.
I'm fine with the conversation.
Are you fine with it? Okay, cool. I don't necessarily disagree with I don't disagree with the site itself. The content that's put out, you have your own choice of whatever you can do. You have your own personal autonomy. Do what you like to do at without hurting people, right? However, what can potentially lead to someone being hurt in the long run? Either that yourself or an audience member, right? It's a weird thing because it's like there was a specific place where now what is popularized as what the OnlyFans content is lewd, lewd natured video photography and all this stuff. When that wasn't the initial function of the site, and other people have different stuff, but that's the main majority. That's the majority of the content on there now, right? There was a window. There was opportunity for that content elsewhere, right? Not that it's the only thing I'm concerned about is because that wasn't the original purpose of the site. Now it's overwhelmed with it. I get the subscription thing. Never mind. I don't really have an argument about it, I guess, anymore, because the other sites do exist. But it's the same thing for the other sites. Like, after a certain point in time, most people are gonna think about reputation. And if this stuff is available for a wide amount of people, right, or even a small amount of people, and one of those people are incredibly personal, because OnlyFans is like, it's not just, you don't 100%, well, you get paid a certain amount, right? But it's not like exorbitant where some people are living well above what they used to make, but other people is like, I'm doing this and I'm getting nothing, right? So you're not guaranteed a better lifestyle because of this. So, I mean, that's just one of those things. There's a lot of benefits to it, I guess, as well, because everyone on it isn't necessarily strung out as hell as too. Because, like, in the porn industry, there's a lot of people just, or historically, there's a lot of people just strung out on, like, drugs and stuff. But OnlyFans, I mean, that's a lot of people. This is a question I have for you. Do you think that has is necessarily changed the amount of people that are willing to present themselves nude online, or is it just a different side of accessibility? Because that's something I was sort of wondering in my head.
I think it's more so about the accessibility. I think because with OnlyFans, it's a better platform the way it's set up, and you make a better profit on than most sites.
Okay.
With OnlyFans, you have a better profit because whatever you make, you give the site like I think like 15%. Just give them a percentage of whatever you make.
What, the site on OnlyFans you give them 50%, or most other sites?
With OnlyFans, you give that site a percentage for using that platform.
Okay, but it's not. Is it? What is that? It's much lower than 50%.
It's just the way it's set up. It's better than like some other sites that they have. That there's a lot of other sites that will take a larger percentage,
Right,
or don't give you as much freedom or anything like that.
fair
And
enough.
OnlyFans is kind of set up in a better way than just the way the whole subscription basis and like how you can do tips and all that stuff. It's a pretty good site. It's just it's a more favored site than most others.
Oh, so I get, okay. So it's just okay. Okay, that makes sense.
More helpful. You get to like
So there's more incentive on it. So it's more incentivized. Because that's sort of my question. Like, how is OnlyFans different than anything else necessarily? Because
there's some other things that are like similar to it,
but the incentive of the better, output or user, database or systems is more user friendly essentially, and favors the creator more than other sites.
Yeah, it like puts a spotlight on you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it's easy to use, very simple. And the fact that people pay monthly for like they get a lot monthly, like, and it's not for like a really expensive price either. And they can still, if they want to tip images, or people can send them things that request, like you can unlock this video or this image for so and so amount of money, and it'll just show it blurred out, and you can send that in messages and stuff like that. It's just like just the way it's all set up. It's good.
Fair enough. I mean I was just wondering because it's not different than any other site. So the grimes I have with it will be the grimes I have for every other site, which I don't have to get into. So I mean, there's nothing special anymore. That just I thank you for pulling down the curtain of it being some special thing. It's not really that special. It's more incentivized, which is the enticing part of it for people that use it. Which is whatever, to each their own. You fair enough. Fair enough. You believe it or not, I was I was doing some modeling and acting within the like before the pandemic and stuff, and then after pandemic hit, one of like the agent I had but I don't have anymore, they sent me this campsite. It's like, look, the pandemic's going this way and this way. If you want to still be making money, you do something on here, right? I said, what am I supposed to do? And they said, well, you can do anything, but the people that get paid the most do certain things, and this is this and this is what they do. I'm like, okay, so after I do that and I'm trying to get paid money, so what happens to my reputation after I've done this and this and this on this site? And then I have to go back into the public. And certain people in the public have seen this stuff. And this potentially, if I grow larger, right, then all these people will see access to this, will have, that will leave me open to blackmail, that will leave me open to, like, reputation annihilation, and if I'm embarrassed about it personally, or if society itself does not want to accept that this is, whatever decision I made to sustain myself at a certain period of time, and they don't find that acceptable and all that stuff, and that's going to affect the amount of money I can procure in the future, even if I do make myself a sustainable living currently, right? So that's the thing I thought about. I mean, I could go in there and just do nothing and sit there and eat, and someone would watch it and pay me $15, right? But $15 a month is not paying for anything. Unless someone really wants to see me eat. And I don't want anyone to watch me eat. That's weird. I mean, you watch what you want to watch, but I'm not going to create that certain content for you. I'd rather create something that's helpful, not be a waste of time, right? Or something that could harm you in the future, because if I'm setting a precedent for what the content you will consume in the future, or appreciate in the future, I could be contributing or be an initial contributor to a lifestyle that you no longer like in the future, right? And something that a regret that you have, and I don't want to be part of anybody's regret. and that's something I consider about other people. Is like, do you want to be a part in someone's life where they look back and they say, "I wish I hadn't," or are you going to look back? Are you going to be a person someone looks back at and says, "Oh, thank God I did," right? Like, no matter the relationship you have with a person now, it's like, I'm glad this happened, or I wish it didn't happen, and it would be a lot better. So that's something I heavily consider with anything I do to make money, especially, right? Especially now, because I hate everything. I hate the workforce. It doesn't make anything that's not anything that in turn, like at the end of it, hurts people. I'm not with, which is 99.9999999% of all jobs in the Western world. I will say it eventually hurts someone, even though a product or certain programs are helping people, it's eventually the ends of it. How certain materials are attained are hurting people, right? So I don't like. That's a reality that I accept, and I don't want to be part of anymore. You know. How about you?
Like in terms of like still doing the OnlyFans and just in general.
I mean, whichever thing, whatever is fun. I said a lot for no reason. I mean, there was reason, but it was unsolicited speech.
I guess like in terms of OnlyFans, I mean, when it comes to things like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's not definitely not just anybody can do that. You have to really be sure of yourself,
Right.
and if you feel like that's something that you can't live that, you should just do it. Like it just depends on the person and the type of mindset they have.
Absolutely. But yes, yes. So I think the 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 thing with that one is in order to become that person, there has to be a reason, right? So it's either you're doing it just because you were born that way, or you know what is the most prevalent thing that is unfortunate with the world is what makes people they didn't think they wanted to be, but now they're becoming because of something they want even more. Desperation. So if you're in a state of desperation that is going to make you do something that is going to make you not think through all the terms of the agreement or read all of them, or meaning like analyze the things in the future, the you know what you'll be restricted from, or and how people will treat you, and to your credit or to their fault or whatever. It, like if you're not, if it's the everything is not considered. I mean, it's easier said than done. I obviously that's like I say that so often. It's like now I'm starting to I'm keep forgetting that it's not easy, right? It's easy once you start doing it, but getting onto that line of thought is think about every possibility this outcome may present. Like, and what am I willing to do to make sure that it does not turn out negatively? And is this option one that is the risk worth the reward, right? And if I get a reward, you can still like you can attain something while also still having negative consequences to it. It's like I could save my own life, but my legs get chopped off, right? So I mean, yes, you want to live. Is this the like? But this method, this particular method, is there a way for me to get out of this situation and keep all of my limbs, or lose less limbs, right? So I mean, lots of people are forced into boxes, right? You can be forced into a box, right? But then after that point of being forced into a box, are you going to choose to get out of it? And then how are you choosing to get out of it, right? And if there's other people in the box with you, are you willing to help other people? Are people stepping on your head to get out of the box? Or are you stepping on other people's head to get out of the box? Like, what's the most, you know, considering humanity, because some people don't care. But if you care, I'm considering that most people have some, what is the word? igma, minutia. What is the word? It's like might. It's something small. Some fragment of care, right? You could expand that to all humanity and all life. Really, it's like. But if you don't care, you don't care. And if someone doesn't care, then I mean, stay away from people that don't care. That's dangerous. But if you yourself care, understand that other people care. So if you're stepping on someone that cares for you, and you say you care for them, but they're showing they care for you by not stepping on you, and you're saying you care for them, but you're stepping on them, who really cares for who at that point? It's like, I care about myself, but I also care about others, which I know you can relate to heavily, right? Because you've got this, you've got such a relatable thing, like an empathetic and sympathetic. Obviously, because you're female, but that's natural. So sympathy is automatically there, and then empathy is something attained, which is either because you care enough to attain empathy, or to no fault of your own, you have empathy for a certain situation. Right? What do you say about that? Because you go into depth about that. You have some good stuff to say about that, and I know for a fact.
I'm very, I've always been very empathetic. Actually, that kind of like ties into why I'm so open about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open because I try to relate to others. I try to connect to them, and if that means sharing about my life and my experiences, I will. I just, oddly enough, I sometimes struggle a lot with understanding myself.
Bit of a pause. Sorry about that. Yes, but you just said, that you relate. You use a lot of your personal stories to relate to a lot of people. But I think, but my analysis was that you have a good understanding of yourself. But you just said that sometimes that you struggle to find, you struggle to understand yourself, right? And that's I think you have a better understanding of yourself than you realize. And I think with other people, right? That's just the way you're able to connect to people is because of a fragment of self that you understand. You understand that this person is gonna. I mean, that's just human behavior, though, isn't it? Because.
The way I had told one of my friends
Mm-hmm.
was, okay, one of like a friend that I made here. A lot of times when we talk, I end up getting him to open up about himself.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say? Which it bothers him sometimes, but I know he likes it because I help him out a lot. But he's very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like said like, why do you like want to talk about this? Why do you like pretty much want to help him, even though like what do I get out of it? And he was like, you don't get anything out of it. And I was like, honestly, it's not like just for you, it's for me too.
Yes.
Me like relating to people, it helps me understand myself.
Yes. Yes, and that was what I was pointing out. You find yourself within other people, and like the things that you see in other people, whether or not like you characterize or define yourself as something that you see within them, but because of something in them, you find something in yourself, right? And it leads to more. I mean, it could lead to more confidence in you being able to help other people, because that's just the way certain people are. The people that understand people are more likely to want to help them, right? Because if you understand, which can make the people without money usually, right? So if you're rich and you understand people, you're going to exploit them, and that's natural. But if you're poor and understand people, you're going to want to help them, and poor people don't want to be helped by poor people, because poor people. That's something. I don't know if I said that to someone else recently, or if I wrote that down and I'm going to put that in something. But there's something that's something that. Oh, I think I was. Wait, I was talking to you about this. I was talking about you about this. That's right. It's people don't find value in something that is, because we don't place, like, people that help other people. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you're poor. I'm just saying we're not billionaires. Unless you're hitting billionaire and not telling me anything. But people don't find value in someone that they expecting you to get something out of. It's like, okay, what do you get, right? Or like, you're giving me this thing, but what do you get? Because you're in the same boat as I am, right? So that's essentially what human things like. You're on the same level as I am. How are you giving this to me but not getting anything from it? Like, it's because, like, if they were getting it from someone that they thought was of high value, so that also shows how much they value you and the information that you provide. Even if it's good, it's just like, I'm getting it for free, so it's whatever. Like, rather than like an actual therapist, it's like, okay, I'm paying for this, so I have to trust this information. Rather than someone that cares about you, it's like, oh, they say this because they care about me. You're paying someone to care for you with a therapist. Hello, is it's like that's a conflict of interest in itself, I think. Even though it's like a time thing, that's whatever. But people don't, if usually don't value something that they don't know where it comes from, and that's concerning, because that is such a perception thing that can change instantaneously. That can change in an instant if someone wants to, which also could make someone become a monster for themselves if they don't. Because it's case by case. You have to know what to trust and what not to. It's. This is why people should be taught this stuff as kids. This stuff should be taught in elementary school. Like, I don't like people. Because this is all stuff that is just so. It's technically. It's a simple concept. But it's something too many people are unwilling to acknowledge. But yeah, you and people like you really have a good thing for people, and people should want to accept this pure goodness that is unadulterated and it's not incentivized, right? Like, you're even, well, because everything is selfish. But if the thing that you're doing for someone else is never potentially going to cause harm to them or yourself, then you're doing a good thing, or for any other people around them, right? And that's regardless of what they do with the information. Is what you're giving them. If it can't possibly harm yourself or them or the people they will influence because of your information, then you are doing a good thing. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate exactly how selfless that is, to even be concerned about things that far along. Like, even if some people don't consider it, like, there's certain things you just say that is common sense, and you have to teach certain people common sense. Right? Like even like, that's where I notice a lot of things. Is like most people are just lacking common sense, and these common sense things will then lead you into making better decisions. But you don't got common sense.
Common sense isn't common.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I say that. I've started saying it so recently because it makes people feel dumb, but I'm like, if the shoe fits. No, but you've definitely we've got to do this more often, certainly, because even though I talked through a lot, you said your quick things are very insightful, and I just have a lot to say about it. I mean, one of these days we'll get you to just spill out an hour and just give people everything. Not everything that you know, but everything of something. Like, just a long thing, so I don't have to talk. But yeah. This has been a pleasure, Tiona. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate every second and everything you said and all the insights and the things I was able to learn from you today, because I'm learning every second. But there's some things that I was really questioning about that you answered, and I appreciate that. And
No problem. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad I didn't offend you too much, because that's the problem I got. Some people, like I've done like these meetings with a few people, like in person, and they've scrapped it because I'm respectful of what people want put out. So they said, nah, I don't want that put out. That was too much. I'm like, what? Okay. I mean, that's fine or whatever. I respect you enough to keep that. But I appreciate you. We'll do this again. All right. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. Breathing is hardly dangerous. Once again, be blessed, stay blessed, and I'll see you all later.